All right, ready for some fun? It's hard to follow Alice, isn't it? Man, I promise I won't make you dance. So, I'm going to dig right into this. This will take roughly about an hour, and it's been a great process. And I'm going to walk you through this whole process, what we've been doing. And I want to talk about this whole thing about branding. You probably heard say, oh, we're doing this branding deal. What the heck is that, and why do we need it? And that's all we need is another logo. And so we're going to talk about that. So what I thought I'd do is tell you why Squamish is doing this. Before I really dig in, I wanted to give you just a little background for you that don't know, is I worked in the concert industry, and I did tour management for groups like Fleetwood Mac, the Eagles, Earth, Wind and Fire, Chicago, and you want to really date me? I managed the tour for the Bee Gees Saturday Night Fever tour. And when I was dealing with one of these bands, I had ulcers. And by the way, back in those days, if you think about, we coordinated tours, we might be in Edmonton in front of 15 to 18,000 people. 48 hours later, we're playing in Calgary, then Vancouver, then Seattle, then Portland, zigzagging up and down through Canada and the United States. Every 48 hours producing a concert, and you have numbers of semis, you have buses, you have flights, you've got sound, security, backstage passes, gifts, radio interviews, all this stuff. Here's what you have to remember in coordinating all this. There were no cell phones. There was no internet. We went on the road with rolls of dimes because that's what telephone booths cost. That's how we managed these tours. But I became good friends with a guy from 1960s rock and roll, Paul Revere and the Raiders. How many of you ever heard of Paul Revere and the Raiders? You just dated yourselves. And he said, and I had ulcers dealing with one of these groups, and I thought, and I was in my 20s, and he says, Roger, you need to go up and get out of this industry. It's going to kill you. I mean, it was really a rough industry, what you're trying to do and coordinate all this stuff. And dealing with personalities and all the issues that come with being on the road. And he said, I know these guys up in Canada that are developing this destination resort. They're really, really struggling. They don't know how to make this thing happen. You're a good promoter. Go up there and help them happen, or help them make it happen. And so I drove up, and by the way, we're from the Seattle area. I grew up in the San Juan Islands right out here, just off the coast of Victoria. And so I came up into British Columbia and to this place they called Whistler Resort. At the time, 678 people lived at Whistler. It was the See to Die highway. It was pretty rough, and the base of Whistler Mountain was literally a garbage dump. And it was my job to recruit money to make Whistler happen, to recruit investors. People in Vancouver said, no way. The base is only 2,500 feet. It's never going to work. People are not going to drive. It took like 3 or 4 hours of driving in those days. And if you got stuck behind a logging truck, you were stuck the entire way. There were no turnoffs. There was nothing you could do. But the thing is, we had this vision, we had this dream, and we made Whistler work. What was interesting is back in those days, this is like 80, 81, right around in there, right after the concert industry. And what was interesting is we would not stay in Squamish. We lived in North Van. Matter of fact, we rented several houses for us that were working at Whistler near the Capilano Suspension Bridge, and we commuted that way. And the reason was, in those days, Squamish was very much a timber town. It was very much a little bit stinky, because of all the lumber and those kinds of things. And it was just super redneck, no offense. But it was just one of those places you didn't want. It was really industry. And so for me, having spent nearly 35 years doing this as a career, to me, doing this in Squamish is like coming home. And it's coming full circle. And I'll tell you, the Squamish today is nothing like it was then. I mean, it is so progressive. It is so much younger. I mean, everything about Squamish. So I have to say, on behalf of myself, Jordan over here, and Greg right here, our creative director, it's been a real pleasure, and we're just facilitating this. So we did not do a brand from the outside. And so, with that as a background, The reason we're doing this is we, like Al said, we really want to put Squamish on the map as one of British Columbia's best destinations, as a place to live, as a place to work, and as a place to play. Really put you on the map. And number two is to differentiate you from everybody else in Western Canada. Because you know what? There's not a place in Western Canada that doesn't have outdoor recreation. So how do you differentiate? How do you package it differently? And then number three, to make Squamish the destination, not just a pit stop on to and from Whistler. And so how do you make that people are saying, we're going to Squamish. And by the way, we might link a little side trip to Whistler. See what I mean? But we want you to be the destination. And that's why you're doing this. And so, there are two kinds of brands. There's the feel-good brand that says, come to Squamish. It's a great place to live, work, and play. Which, by the way, every community says and feels. And then there's the economic development brand. How do we import more cash into Squamish, which is what this is about. Because at the end of the day, that is what this is about, cash. How do we get more money spent in Squamish? And that will create jobs, that will create tax base, and that is what the ultimate goal is. And just like any community, heaven forbid any of you ever go shopping at Park Royal. That's leakage. See what I mean? If you earn your money in Squamish and you ever head to North Van or Vancouver or, Granville Island, or you head to Whistler, or when friends and family, you take them up to Whistler, those things, that's all leakage. If you leak out more than you import in, you die, just like a business. If it leaks more cash than you bring in, you don't last. And it's the same with communities. So that's what this is about. So this whole branding thing is, there are 10 things you need to know, and branding is the art of differentiation. What sets you apart from everyone else? I originally spoke in Squamish like 7 or 8 years ago when the Olympics were first announced that you were going to get them here. And I went into the visitor center and I said, you know what, this outdoor recreation capital of Canada, outdoor recreation is the most two overused words in the world. There's not a place that doesn't have it. And I didn't get invited back for about 7 years. But, and so what we have to do, and by the way, it's not that you don't, it's not that you aren't. How do you package it a little differently? And so, or make it seem so that it's different from everyone else, because branding is the art of differentiation. And number two, a brand is a perception. When you say to somebody, I'm from Squamish, what's the first thing that comes to mind? Are they going, cool, I love Squamish? Or are they saying, Squamish? And I've heard both from many of you. And so it is also perception, and then whatever you say, whatever we feel about you when we get here, are you delivering on it, good or bad? And so that's the other thing, a brand is a perception. And number one is visual cues. Part of the challenge with Squamish is you've had kind of a negative perception. Part of it's from old industry days, but part of it is when you drive through on the highway, you never see this downtown. You never see the golf course up there at Garibaldi. You don't really even see the chief. You know what I mean? I mean, the gondola is really going to help open up those views, but we judge the book by the cover. Is it fair? Nope. So what we see on the highway, we say, so this is Squamish. Oh, it's McDonald's, Tim Hortons, Wendy's, and gas stations. It's a pit stop. And so sometimes we have to change those perceptions. And then number two is people and attitudes. And then number three is word of mouth. And number four is publicity, social media. And those two you could combine together. It's all word of mouth. So, sometimes there's repositioning. And there's not so much repositioning. I think that Squamish has been going through this repositioning for 20 years. And now we're trying to say, okay, now what is that voice we put out there? Number three, logos and slogans are not brands. They're just marketing messages. And so here's, there you go. Logos, brand identities make up 2% of brand, but they're going to get 98% of the attention. You know what? Even in our brand development team, and I'm going to explain all this in a little bit, even yesterday we were debating the logo. And Here's my question for you. Do you buy Reeboks over Nike because you think the Nike swoosh is a dumb logo? Or do you buy Nike shoes because you think their logo's so cool? Do you buy Chevy over Ford or vice versa because, oh, I really like their logo a whole lot better? Or do you ever say, well, you know what, I'm going to drink Pepsi over Coke because, you know, I like blue better than red? Have you ever gone anywhere and say, wow, I want to go there, they have a really cool logo? Or have you said, I'm not going there because I think their logo sucks? At the end of the day, you're going to see a new logo. It's not the focus. Nobody's going to say, I'm coming to Squamish because of that new logo. And they're not going to say, I'm going to avoid Squamish because I hate the logo. So I just want to let you know, brands are not about logos. Number 4, you never use focus groups. Even in our team, it wasn't a focus group. Like yesterday, we said, here's some brand identities, the logos. We wanted individual feedback. We did not want the hive. We're trying to make everybody happy. So you don't use focus groups. And number 5, a brand evokes a feeling. Hopefully it says, oh, that's cool. That looks like a great place to go in our messaging and in the photography. And then number 6, successful brands are built on product, not marketing. You know, when we developed Whistler Resort, we knew that it wasn't going to be different than other ski areas, whether it's Cypress, whether it's Vail. We knew that we had to either be different or totally better. So when we started Whistler, we did one thing. You know what our goal at Whistler was? To knock Vail off its perch as the #1 ski destination in North America. Because then people would be willing to try the ski to die highway in those days. Now it's incredible. You know, by the way, you know, Brackendale, right through Brackendale, that used to be the highway to Whistler, if you didn't know that. But, so we knew that our product had to be so good in Whistler that we would knock Vail off its perch. And guess what? For 30 years and counting, Whistler's done just that. It's worth it. We can get to those other places easier and closer, but it's worth the drive. And that's what we have to talk about you. So what's the product that backs it up? And then number 7, you never roll out a brand. We are not rolling out a brand today. We're going to show you the direction we're headed. We're going to show you concepts. This is not a rollout. So what you're going to see today is previewing the direction we're going. Does that make sense for everybody? Okay? So, a brand is earned, good or bad. And number 8, you cannot do branding by public consent. We did ask, and I'm going to tell you the process in a little bit. But you know what? We asked you, what do you want Squamish to be known for? But feasibility made the decision. So, if you do this by public consent, you'll never get anyone to agree until you water it down to something specific. Come to Squamish, we have something for everyone. Have you ever gone anywhere that had something for everyone? We don't. We go to something for us. You know, you cannot let local politics kill your marketing efforts. I love this quote. A byproduct of brands for the people is the committee that compromises and kills a potential brand home run. This is why you never see statues of committees in public parks. You see brave leaders. If we were to do this top down, so if the district, by the way, the district funded this, and they've been a partner in it, but the key part of this has been coming from the people of Squamish, not the district. Because if you want to do the 7 phases, if we would have done this as a public process, here's what you go through. Number 1 is there's enthusiasm. We heard that Roger Brooks guy. We're really, we think this is really cool. We're really pumped. And then there is planning, which is what you're going through right now. And then there's disillusionment as somebody comes out and says, well, I really don't like that. I don't think it's that great. Or they say, why are we focusing on that one thing? We have so much more than that. And then, of course, there's fear and panic. And then there's search for the guilty, punishment of the innocent, and finally, praise and honors for the non-participants. That about right? So, you can't do this by public consent. And number 9, you build your brand on feasibility, which is what's going to help create the most jobs, the most revenues, the tax base for Squamish. And that will be the deciding factor. And finally, number 10, you build your brand on public relations, because remember, it's what people think of you. Advertising is how you maintain your ownership position. Whistler advertised its ownership position as the #1 rated ski resort in North America. And so, that is the 10 things you need to know. Here are the goals of this whole thing. We kind of touched on them. We want to differentiate Squamish from everyone else. So that's number 1. How do we position you as different? Number 2, we want to become the premier destination area for both local residents and visitors, which means we want you to spend more time in your downtown Squamish and in your areas of Squamish, rather than North Van, Whistler, and other places. And then to create small business opportunities and to strengthen existing businesses. That's always a top priority. And then finally, to attract young professionals and families for clean, green, tech, and brain trust industries. One thing that's always amazed us about Squamish since we started this process is that you have some of the highest educated, smartest, independent thinkers we've ever worked with. And we've worked in 1,000 communities, 45 US states, and every Canadian province, and in Western Europe. Matter of fact, our group that we've been working with has really challenged us. I mean, we've had to be on our tiptoes because they're willing to challenge us. And that is great. And so, jobs, business opportunities, and gathering places. And then finally, to make Squamish the adventure sports destination for business. Attracting those kind of people that want to work here because they love the lifestyle. Investment, jobs, sustainability. And one more, to help make downtown a vibrant central gathering place for locals and visitors. You know, public market, which you're working on, program plazas, business mix and everything. You know, we cracked up the other day because we've been working right up here. One thing, Glenn, we've been working right here in the Ledge Cafe all this week. And it was so funny, the other day we went up to Sushi Zen, and the only busker we could find in all of Squamish was in front of, what's the Extra Foods. Not in downtown, but up there. And so we want to do that. So that's the other thing we want to do. And so, by the way, there's only 3 killers of this effort. There's never a 4th one. Here they are. Number 1 is local politics, and it's worse with membership organizations than it is with elected politicians. Number 2 is lack of champions, those people that are willing to take a few hits to push this thing forward, because not everyone's going to agree. And number 3 is lack of money, both public and private, to make it happen. And by the way, you notice that lack of champions is in yellow? You know why? Because if you have the right champions that are going to push this thing forward, they will get through the politics and they will find the money. And this is not, by the way, for you, it's not going to be a big, expensive brand to do. And so, here's what we've been doing. Over the last, how long has it been now? 6 months roughly? We've been working on this? 14 weeks? So 3 months. Yeah. So, as a matter of fact, this process started like a year ago, right, Randy? When Squamish started talking about branding and going through that process. But we've been working on it for several months. And this is the 13 steps we've been going through. And so the number 1 thing we did is we put together a brand development committee or a brand development team, our BDC. So we did that right away. And by the way, here is your team. And we have these in alphabetical order, so they're not in, you know, we didn't want to put one person first over another one. But I want to let you know that this is a mix of tourism, the district, downtown, businesses. So this is the team, and all of them are here. And we'll stick around afterwards if you want to talk to any of them. But this is our team that we've been working with. And they have been excellent. It has been really, really a great process. And they have been super engaged throughout the process. I mean, really, really awesome. So then number 2 is we did some education and outreach. Matter of fact, there was an online survey that went out there that asked, this is your chance to weigh in Squamish's future. And 1,150 43 people weighed in. By the way, this is in small type, double-sided pages. This is what you said. When we did this survey, there was no multiple choice. We let you just say whatever you felt. Some of it was hilarious. Some of it was a little bit stingy. And some of it was just plain awesome and great. But I just want to let you know that you did this. So when I say you can't do it by public consent, you at least have to ask and go through the process. And question number 9 in this, what do you want Squamish to be known for? This group that we worked with did that. They listened to you. And so this played a huge role through this whole thing. So that's what you do. You go out and you ask. We went through that. The things we heard, and I'm just summarizing because I could have done 50 slides of what we heard. But number one thing that came, these are things that we thought were just really obvious. The chief is our icon. You know, like the Space Needle is to Seattle. I mean, there was no question for that. Our recreation is simply unparalleled and really exceptional. Okay? That's one thing we heard. Matter of fact, many of the people in here said that's why they came here, including probably most of you in this room. Number 3, we are young, vibrant, educated, and unconventional. So these are themes that came out. Freewheeling, unscripted, down to earth, a little bit rugged. Sea and sky. Boy, if you're into multi-sports, this is heaven. That came out really clear. And then number 6, there's a very strong entrepreneurial spirit here. Almost everybody we've talked to came here and created their own jobs, their own way. We thought that was really cool. And now we're getting into the list of needs. Give us some signs we can't find anything. And that didn't come just from you locals. It came from people like us. We figured out how to get to Alice Lake. There's signs to do that. But you know what? You got hundreds and hundreds of kilometers. We've been debating whether it's 200 or 600 kilometers of trails. But if you asked me to find any of them, I don't think I could. Because there's no wayfinding. Even off the highway, there's not much wayfinding. So that's directional signs. So we can find your downtown. We can find those things. So that was the thing that came out. Help us create an outstanding downtown. That was very, very popular in all of these answers. And then things to do after work. We had a meeting of the BIA last night, your Business Improvement Association, and that came out big time. Just so you know, if you want to attract visitors, and they're out climbing the Chief, they're on the gondola when it opens. They will be out on your trails. They'll be out on your waterways. They will be out doing all that recreational stuff. At the end of the day, they come back into Squamish and you're closed. And even your locals, there's no place to go after work. And then number 10 was we want better waterfront access, which you're working on. But those were 10 of the things that we saw that came out of that. So we did ask, and we went through that. We all had a lot of reading. Then number 3 is that who the heck are we trying to attract? As places to live, as a place to work, as a place to start a business, and as visitors. So we had to go through that process. Geographically, you have 75,000 residents live within 40 kilometers here. You know what? If we can get those 75,000 people to, wouldn't it be great if Whistler hung out here instead of vice versa? If people in West Van came here rather than North Van? By the way, we're working in North Van, so they're probably not going to like that. I just said that. But that's, you know what? Because if you don't hang out in Squamish, neither will visitors. They go where you go. So that's our first rule is how do we get these 75,000 people that live within this 25-mile radius to spend more time and money in Squamish? And look at this. When you go out 80 kilometers, 2.5 million people. Now, it doesn't mean we want to turn you into Disneyland and have all 2.5 million people there all at the same time, but could we tap into that market? And then look at this. When you go out 100 miles or 160 clicks, 3.6 million people. Can we make Squamish a destination for some of these people? And then, how do we get people passing through to stop and spend more than 10 minutes in Squamish? By the way, if you can get a visitor to spend 2 hours, spending will double. If you can get them to spend the night, it quadruples. So can we get those people to stop here more than just at Tim Hortons, McDonald's, and then back on the highway? And then Washington State residents. We think your major market for tourism should be Washington State because that is 6.9 million people. And by the way, anybody that's going to come up here from Washington is going to spend the night, 4 times more spending. Because you know what? All these day trippers from Vancouver, when they're done, they just go back to Vancouver. There's no incentive for them to spend the night. And then Oregon, another 4 million people. So those are our major markets. And then from around the world. And by the way, we have several people on our team there from different, we have 2 on our team there from Australia. They're already coming here from around the world. But this is kind of our order geographically of who we're trying to attract. Then demographically, we want people looking for a recreationally vibrant destination that they can call home, which is why many of you are here. People with an entrepreneurial spirit. We want people here that establish businesses. And then young professionals, young family, highly educated. You're already getting them. And then attracting the best and brightest minds of Canada and beyond. You really having a powerful brain trust here. We want to keep that going. And businesses, recreation technology, rec tech would be cool. You know what, if you had people doing all the technology on bikes, for instance, then all of a sudden bike manufacturing has come, other things are going to come, and all this recreational technology, which is huge and fastest growing, wouldn't it be good if you were the hotbed for it? You know, like Silicon Valley is, wouldn't that be great if you were the rec tech capital of Canada? It's green, it's clean, you've got all the testing grounds, unbelievable around you. Psychographic, urban refugees, wanting a recreational, adventure-driven way of life. And then easy, edgy, high-spirited, creative people. That's what we're trying to get here. So everything that you're going to see fits around attracting these people in those demographic areas. And then tourism industry suppliers. And what I'm talking about tourism industry suppliers is more bike rentals, when we get better access to the waterfront, kayak rentals, all of those kinds of things. So, take a look at this. There's more to that video, but you know what? The district did this. Is my right, Randy? For economic development, that little video. Tourism did that? Great. Oh, it's part of the Oceanfront Development Project. That's right. So, but here's the point. You saw what it said, who you're trying to attract? Right on. And that's what I wanted to show you there. Number 4, so now we know who we're going to attract. We've got our team together. Now we compile all these things we heard from you and always do what you're afraid to do. And here we go. We knew we wanted to do this. We wanted to skew the brand pretty young because you are one of the youngest cities in all of Britain. You are the youngest city in British Columbia, I believe. And then we want to differentiate you from Whistler. We see Whistler as more polished and very programmed. I know, I started there. And Squamish is more unscripted and more freewheeling. So there's a point of differentiation there. And then focus on the brain trust, smart, educated, independent people of Squamish. We knew this brand had to revolve around you more than assets. Because we think what makes Squamish really great is the people. And we don't say that everywhere. And so we thought the people had to be a central focus of this. Because you already have you're already here. And then organic, it's real, a little bit gritty, a little bit raw. So we wanted to have that showcase in all of this stuff. And then very entrepreneurial. So how do you make it look like that and feel like that? That's what we had to put together. So this is our mission statement. We're still working on this, but here it is: to elevate the desirability of Squamish as a visitor destination, as a place to raise a family, and to live life and to live a great life in an inspiring atmosphere where independent thinkers are championed and celebrated. That's our mission statement. Okay? We may still work on that. Matter of fact, our team hasn't even seen this yet. They're going, Roger, when did we come up with that? But this came out from all of everything that we've been doing. So this is still, all of this is still, it's not 100% done yet. So these are still concepts. Positioning, the major point of differentiation. You know what? You do not own rock climbing. Because there is Smith Rock in Central Oregon. There is, what's it over in Kootenays? Skaha over there. You don't necessarily even own all the biking. You're not the only place with mountain biking. You're not the only place with windsurfing, sailboarding, all those kinds of things. You're not the only place with incredible hiking and everything. But guess what? Perhaps there is no, what was that? That's right. Perhaps there is no place in North America that has all of these and equally as epic together within a 5-minute drive. Exactly right. Exactly right. That is your point of differentiation. I mean, is there any place, we couldn't find any place in North America where you could go out there on the water and half an hour later be scaling the Chief. See what I mean? And the Chief and those things are just as good as anything you will find anywhere on the planet. That's what we're talking about. And that is the point of differentiation. So thank you. You got it. And that makes you an epic destination. So, we went through that. One of the next things we have to do is a brand leadership team. The brand development team that you saw, that list of people that are here, they're going to give way to who's going to lead the effort forward. And we're going to talk more about that for a second. Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed people can change the world, and indeed it is the only thing that ever has. That was Margaret Mead. That's our brand leadership team. When odds are 1 in a million, be that one. So by the way, if you like what you see today and you want to be part of this team, you let me know. Or you let one of our team members know. They must be 100% enthusiastically behind this. So if you see this, you're going through this, you're going, yeah, I kind of like it. You're not on the team. But if you're going, yeah, count me in. Yeah, what do I need to do? Let me go. Then we want you. They need to be doers, not directors. We need people to go talk to the district. We need people to talk to the Canadian Tourism Commission. And so we need people to go talk to groups and really promote this Squamish brand. They need to be willing to take some hits because not everybody's going to agree. Cannot be all things to all people. They will be brand cops. There's going to be a look and a feel to it. And we want the district to use it, tourism use it, economic development use it, events use it. We want to create some continuity. And so they will police that. And then more than half should have a vested interest in the brand. You know, there's no question your greatest assets are recreationally oriented. So if there are people that have their business is actually in this brand that you're going to see, they're most willing to champion the cause. You know why? Their paycheck depends on it. And we want those people. And they're the voice of the brand. They're going to go out there and promote this to BC tourism, to everybody. And they cannot be politically divisive in the community. They can absolutely be elected officials. But they can't be people that are so divisive in the community that they're going to divide the community. And they will be the steering committee for brand-related projects like wayfinding signage or gateways or anything, plaza areas, anything that you start develop that's going to come out of this. And they will push the agenda forward and never take no for an answer. And at least half should be under 35. Okay, I'll give it 40. I won't mention any names there, Christy. I mean, no, I'm just giving her a bad time. She's 29. Again. And so anyway, we do want to skew it young. Remember, that's our demographic. You know what? The future of Squamish is not people my age. It's the young youth. That's the future of Squamish. And so, nothing great was ever achieved without enthusiasm. That's my life's motto. And those are the people we want on this brand leadership team. And here you go. A life should not be the journey to the grave with the intention of arriving safely in a pretty and well-preserved body, but rather to skid in broadside in a cloud of smoke, thoroughly used up, totally worn out, and loudly proclaiming, Yeah, what a ride. If that's you, let me know. And there you go. There's a brand champion for you. A diamond is merely a lump of coal that did well under pressure. And so, if this is you, let us know. And our team is they're all here to say, I want to be part of this. And I'm just going to give you, we took their pictures today out there, so I didn't have time to process it and put it in here. But we did this in Alpena, Michigan. These were their brand champions. And by the way, the reason I have Jeff right here and Missy right here, at the end of the day, is usually one or two people that jump to the foreground that always pushing forward to make it happen, and that's their team. You know, this is in Edmonton, Alberta. We worked in Old Strathcona, which people know as White Ave. This is their brand team. And by the way, Murray right here and Stephen right here are the ones that were really pushing this thing forward. In Kenora, Ontario, these are our brand. You can see Rob. You can tell he's enthusiastic. You know, we got Barb over here. Probably Barb and Rob are the two most, and Jennifer right here are probably the ones that are gung-ho pushing this forward. There's always a few standout people when it comes to brand champions. This here is in Bracebridge, Ontario. There's the mayor. He pushes his weight around. He's a great guy. But you know, we've got Allison right here, really pushing this thing forward. Cheryl right back here. It always has one or two people pushing this thing forward. We can't wait to share the picture we took of your team out here. It's actually a funner picture than all those, huh? And so, develop the product brand bank. All brands are built on product. We are in the age of third places. The first place is our home. The second place is where we go to work. And the third place is the place we go to hang out. Starbucks built an entire brand around third places. The Ledge Cafe is a third place. We are in the age of third places. Those places we get to go hang out. And they're usually not, they can be more than a restaurant, like a plaza area. Somewhere near downtown having this plaza area that's programmed, that's alive with music. And I'm just going to quickly go through these. Number one on that list is a wayfinding signage program for your trail systems, for your assets, to get downtown, to get between downtown and into Brackendale, and you know, connecting all of these dots. A year-round public market, which is already in the works, and we think that's really important to the future of Squamish. And then a showcase gathering places, whether it's plaza. I keep looking at this lot right up here, going, oh my gosh, we'd love to have a program plaza. They're probably covered, you know, so that it's a year-round gathering place. Creative office space, more of that. You have some of this already in the works here too, but you need even more of it because that's what we're trying to attract. Better defined and identified trails and activity sports. You've got them, we just have to identify them so they're easy to find and easy. So people, we've even talked to lots of people that get lost on the trails that live here. And then a stronger, more vibrant downtown, which you're already working on. More visitor-friendly infrastructure like parking access. Yesterday I almost got a ticket right out in front. You know, little things like that. The average person in a pedestrian-friendly downtown will spend 4 hours. So when it comes to parking, we have this mindset that says we cannot get our employees to park somewhere else, so we're going to punish our customers instead. As your downtown develops, chasing people out after 2 hours is going to reduce your retail sales. So just so you know, so we got to work on that. And then an incredible oceanfront development and public access, which is already, as you know, has been going through the process and everything, going to be very, very important. And then taking advantage of the waterfront right downtown. Because right now, the waterfront in your downtown is on the back side instead of making it the front side or front and center. So these are all things that will be in the plan. A more attractive highway introduction to Squamish as we're coming into town. You know, what are you selling? You know, creative office spaces are places like this. You know, where they have the concrete floors and the open beam ceilings. These kinds of things. And then, of course, plazas. You know, we're moving to the European standard. We're shopping later at night. We're eating later at night. We want central gathering places like you'll find here. This is Siena in Italy. This is Rapid City, South Dakota. They put this plaza there. It's about an acre. You can see the band shell over there. They've got restaurants over there. And you know what? This is it during the summer. That's it during the winter. And the place is programmed more than 300 days a year. And has now become as big an attraction as Mount Rushmore. Downtown. Wouldn't that be great if your downtown was as big an attraction as the Chief? So there you go. That's what that looks like. Even the water features there, are all lit with LED lighting. And this was posted, where was this posted, George? On Flickr. Somebody put movie night, Main Street Square. Look at this. This is movie night. Every Monday they have movie night on the square in Rapid City. I grew up in Rapid City. It was never as cool as it is now. That's what we want people to say about downtown Squamish. So that's all part of the product development. By the way, I just want to let you show this. I want to show you this. How many of you have been to the waterfront next to the Lonsdale Quay in North Vancouver, those empty lots? Have you been there? Most of you. You want to know what's going to happen there? This is competition for you. So I want to show you that you can't rest on your laurels, because you know what? That's what it's going to look like. There's Vancouver, Canada Place is right over there. This is all of that whole area. The Lonsdale Quay is right over in here. And all of this is going to be huge. There's water features in there. That'll be an ice skating rink. It's all covered. I mean, it's going to be an amazing attraction on the North Vancouver waterfront. That is going to compete. And so these are things you need to know. I mean, it's going to be an amazing development. There it is with the ice skating rink. By the way, the ice skating rink is big enough to be a hockey. It is official hockey size. 17,000 square feet. In Old Strathcona, they're all about where people come to celebrate. It's Ovation Plaza. They're going to take this dirt, they're working on getting this lot here that used to be a gas station, which you have a few in your downtown. It looks like that right now today. And the goal is, that lot is right over here. So if you were standing on this roof looking over Kitty Corner, it's going to look like that. We want you to have one of these somewhere in downtown Squamish. And by the way, plazas need to be monetized. That means they need to be next to places where people can spend money. So, we know what the brand is. We know what the product is. Now we have to write the brand promise. And that is what we're going to, when people get here, what are they going to expect, and can we deliver on it? And how do you make it different? How do you make it memorable? How do you get it to evoke emotion? How do you get people to say, oh my gosh, yeah. That's what we have to do. And so the mission is to elevate the desirability of Squamish over every other destination in the greater Northwest. That's saying a lot. And there it is. The world's most epic adventures can be found right here. Those words, epic. The world's, not British Columbia's, not the Northwest, the world's most epic adventures can be found right here. In business, nature, climbing, biking, aquatic sports, scenic vistas, you name it. We had the pleasure the other day of getting a sneak preview and went up the gondola. And OMG, that's what we said. Oh my gosh, this is incredible. It was epic. And that's just one thing. And so, that is what we're trying to do. And then Western Canada's best multi-sport destination. You know what? You already own it. That is pretty cool. And so, repositioning from the challenge stepchild of Whistler, that's what they were doing. So the answer is, we have to do this and make a really bold statement. We have to claim it, we have to own it, we have to evoke emotion with it, and we have to make it memorable. And so, we wanted to elevate Squamish above everybody else. No more the ugly stepchild of Whistler. Those days are gone and over. And so we want you to do stuff like this. And you know what? By the way, none of us on the team are big fans of billboards. We're not proposing to be billboards in Squamish, but up and down Interstate 5 in Seattle, Portland, those areas, can we tell them and put Squamish on the map? Oh, I forgot to take that one out. We're not using that tagline. And so, can we do that? Number 8. So what's it look like? What's it feel like? How many of you are saying, when's he ever going to get to those pictures? We want to see what this looks like, right? Here you go. By the way, you notice this is number 8. It wasn't number 1. You know what most towns do? They start by developing a logo and a slogan. This is number 8. Create the look and feel of the brand. We did that. That's what we've been doing all week here with our team. This is not coming from the outside. We're here facilitating the process. And by the way, with all the stuff, simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. Leonardo da Vinci said that. So everything you're about to see are concepts. Nothing is done. As a matter of fact, some of the photography used is stock photography. It would all be replaced with Squamish photography. So what you're going to see is not done. I want to really, really illustrate that. We're still working on it. But we wanted you to see the direction we're headed. And so, world class or epic will put you on the map. Quality of life, the way you live here, will get us to take note and want to live, work, and play here. By the way, tourism is the front door to your non-tourism economic development. Anybody who's going to come here as a commercial site selector, a commercial real estate agent, somebody with a business, they're going to come here first as what? A visitor. This is a place they'd want to live, their employees want to live, has good workforce here, all of those things. So you're going to see that these have a little bit of a tourism bent, and that's good. It's the foundation. That is what we're trying to do. And by the way, one challenge you have in Squamish is you don't have much of a marketing budget when it comes to tourism. You don't generate a whole bunch of money in lodging revenues. The district has to contribute to that. And so there's not a whole, so we had to come up with a strategy that would use a lot of social media because we can't afford to hit the television and all of these things in Seattle area and Portland area and other places, even in Vancouver. So what can we do on a minuscule budget? So that really drove us a lot. We want to do things like this. Where, and this, by the way, some of these are hypothetical right now. And so we said, but could we do something like My Squamish Adventure? Could we do these hashtags? Could we create these places where people could come in there and say, my name is Jennifer, I'm 36, I came to Squamish because it's an outdoor paradise. Oh my gosh, it is so incredible. And here's my today's playlist. I get up at 7:30 and I'm going to do this. And what they're doing is create little itineraries of their perfect day in Squamish. Wouldn't it be cool if people could share their perfect day in Squamish? Locals and visitors. And we hope a lot of these will come from visitors. And so we want to do a series. Here's Monica, 28. You know, and once again, we didn't even put in real text yet because this is just a direction. But wouldn't it be cool if people could tell about their epic adventures in Squamish? Whether it's eagle watching, whether it is attending a festival, whatever it is. And you know what? It doesn't always have to be young. Here we have a little older couple. You know, they're into sailing. They loved coming up into South Sound, which I think is really cool now that you're seeing dolphins and whales and everything starting to come back into the Sound. You know, and so here they tell their Squamish adventure. And so you could do a whole series of these. So here's Christy. And so I'm picking on her today. I picked on her yesterday a lot too. So there is Christy here. She's a local, age 29 again. And why Squamish? And we kind of embellish what she actually told us. Why Squamish? It's the sweet spot between Vancouver and Whistler, just 45 minutes each direction. And then she put together her itinerary. We started at 8 o'clock. I'd run the trails Alice Lake with my running gals. And then her day might continue and say, at 10 o'clock, we'll finish that trail run at On the Farm, coffee at Cloudburst with friends. And this is one of her typical days, or would be her do the Squamish outdoor, you know, what is it? Outdoor road cycling. There's your off-road cycling association, sorry. I knew it, just skipping me. So the Sorka Bike Skills Park, which is fantastic. Watch the kids, BMX, scooters, skateboard ball, all of those things. And then, you know, maybe oceanfront picnic, watching kite surfers explore the beach. You know, and wouldn't it be cool if people do this? And then 2:30, mountain bike with friends, access via Manquam Forest Road. Yes. And then she went on. Sea to Sky gondola for dinner, incredible sunset with friends, opera ride, drink while the kids play. And you know what? You know what visitors want? That's an itinerary from locals. It ties us to you. You know, the fastest growing trend in tourism is arrive a visitor, leave a local. Wouldn't it be cool if you could do these things? And you have your experience might be totally different. So here's another one. So it could be anything, whether it's on the water, whether it's in the mountains. We even picked on Jordan right over here. This is what he was doing the other day. Okay, I'm lying. That's a stock photo. But the point is, he could do it even from visitor. So here's what he did. I'm Jordan, 27. I'm from Seattle, Washington. Why Squamish? This is one of the most amazing places in North America. Who knew? And he put in there breakfast burrito at the Zephyr in downtown. 8 o'clock, Shannon Falls, stunningly beautiful. Easy hike over to the Sea to Sky gondola. Took the Sea to Sky gondola to the top. Oh my God. What an incredible experience. Worth the 4-hour drive from Seattle all in itself. And then headed to the Chief to climb to the top. And then a couple hours later, at the top of the Chief, this is amazing. And then 5 o'clock, wow, what a day. 3 awesome experiences, just 1 minute from each other. I'm planning tomorrow. This is to get people to spend the night. So that's what we thought we'd do, something like that. Even when it comes to business recruitment, could you do things like, this is my business adventure. And we made this one up. But we thought, how cool could that be? This is Jake, age 32. He's from Brisbane, Australia. Occupation, graphic designer. He does logo gear. Business is Garibaldi Graphics. Remember, I made this one up. And so, unless there is a Garibaldi Graphics in here. There is. Okay, I made this up for them. That's what I thought. Well, that's okay. That's all right. They may say, hey, this is cool. We want to be. And what we want to do is feature some of your cool businesses here. So have Garibaldi Graphics come in. So here we go. Why Squamish? I came here to climb the Chief and never left. I'm a multi-sport enthusiast, and it's all right here, just a minute away. Sea and sky, there's no place like it. And so once again, we made this up, but with an incredible entrepreneurial spirit throughout the community, I decided to start my own screen training business, and with such a close proximity to the major markets of Vancouver, Calgary, and Seattle, business has been better than I ever dreamed possible. The creative juices just flow here. It's amazing. See what I mean? So we're still using the same thing even to attract business. The sense of community and like-minded people are everywhere. What a brain trust of adventure-seeking professionals. If you're thinking of starting or growing a business, Squamish is the place to be. We'd love to see you do this with your businesses here, including Garibaldi Graphics. So, okay? We even did this one, and we didn't put it all in there. But you could do all of these kinds of things that bring in your First Nations people, that bring in other business people here. So that's kind of our over theme. And we love this one that Glenn actually came up, that has the ledge here, that we really like, what's on your playlist. You could identify your own playlist. It include hiking, rock climbing, mountain biking, and he actually came up with some ideas to actually put different titles of songs. But these are all on that same theme. And so, competition has never been tougher. As a matter of fact, I call these the economic development dudes. They're all competing with each other. And you know what? Burnaby wants it, Langley wants it, Richmond wants it, Vancouver wants it, North Vancouver wants it. I mean, you name it, everybody wants a piece of this pie. And competition has never been more fierce. So, number 9, we're going to go back and write up this action plan. That's next on our list. And what you're going to get is branding. What is it we want to be known for? We want to be known as smart, educated, multi-sport destination people. What do we have to do to own it? How do we tell the world? And you're going to get an action plan, no more strategic plans. Because to win, wouldn't it be cool if we have the Chamber of Commerce doing their thing, and they're on the same page as the BIA, and they're on the same page as the district, and they're on the same page as tourism? Because you know what? This is the typical Economic Development Express. Look pretty familiar? It's really clipping along, isn't it? This plan will get everybody from going like this to that. And that is what this is all about. So number 10, you make something happen. And so we're hoping some of these things will happen within a few months. things like this, like, by the way, like our cool little finials. And so look at the trails. So we have the trails here, and we actually tell what the difficulty level is, how long it is. Wouldn't it be cool if we could start identifying the trails like this? If we had these trail maps everywhere, you know, so it might be, you know, take those and have like this. Wouldn't that be cool? So make something happen. Wouldn't it be cool if you could do your vehicular wayfinding like this and identify where parking is? And here you could have brochure distribution. So if we're walking around downtown, we can grab a brochure that talks about Squamish. That way your visitor information is working 24 hours a day. And you know, this isn't a picture of Squamish, but we want to just show you in scale the size of what a sign might be. Wouldn't it be cool if district vehicles started looking like that? So it's just like, yeah, take note. Wouldn't it be cool if you came downtown? And by the way, we want to give downtown a name, not just Central Business District. We want to make it a destination, not a designation of downtown. Now, we don't have a name yet, but last night we're sitting there, well, let's just put a name just so you get a feeling. So we called downtown the Landing, but wouldn't it be cool if you could come downtown? And it was bright, it was bold, it was strong, it really made a statement. By the way, even our team hasn't seen a lot of this. They're going, oh, well, thanks, Roger. And so we're working on this till 11 o'clock last night. And you know, this is the big deal right there. And people said, but Roger, if you Google Outdoor Recreation Capital Canada, we do show up. But you know, if you also Google the Adventure Capital Canada, you also show up. This is your signs now. And so we thought, what do we do with this? How can we make it a little different? Because outdoor recreation, the three most overused words in the world are outdoor, recreation, and the word unique. Unique so overused it's come to mean just like everyone else. So how can we make it just a little bit different, say the same thing using different words? And so last night, Greg was working really hard on this. We thought, could we take signs like this and turn them into signs like this? A little bigger, a little bolder. Go ahead, take pictures. And there you go, the Adventure Capital of Canada. Because you know what? It's not just recreation, it is adventure. We would have put the Epic Adventure Capital of Canada in there, but we thought we were getting too many words on the sign. But something like this that would be strong, it would just be powerful, it would really make a statement. And so, that's our idea. There's a few people taking pictures. All of them keep taking pictures. So, something like that. Make it a little bigger, make it a little bolder, and we're not running away from what you've been working on all these years at all. All we did is change a few words. Okay? And so, number 11, keep the energy high and don't fold for the naysayers. Because you know what? Forget all the reasons why something may not work. You only need to find one good reason why it will. And you cannot fold to the cavers. How many know what cavers stands for? Okay, you ready? Citizens Against Virtually Everything. And I'll bet there's one or two here in Squamish. A diamond is merely a lump of coal that dealt well under pressure. I want to reiterate that because not everyone's going to agree. And number 12, tell the world. So you could do posters. We want to create posters and put them all over Squamish. And these posters are about the people, about the inspiration of living here, not just the physical assets. Posters like this, the difference between try and triumph is a little umph. I love that quote. This is why people live here. You have incredible gold medal Olympic athletes here. You have amazing filmmakers here. You have people that's this inspiring place to be. So we thought, could we do a series of these posters of why people live here, why they visit here? Start by doing what's necessary, then do what's possible, and suddenly you're doing the impossible. So, I mean, look at this. Life is not measured by the number of breaths we take, but by the moments that take our breath away. That's right at the top of the gondola. We'd like to do a series of these around town that people can collect, that they can put on walls, that show how incredible Squamish is. You know, marketing materials. We want you to do a mountain bike trail guide like this. So over 50 amazing trails from beginner to advanced, and a QR code you could download apps and other things. And so this would be a great thing to do here. So this might be a trail guide. Of course, I blew it really big. It would probably be, you know, maybe like this size. And then we also want you to promote your very best restaurants, retail shops, your very top 3 best trails, your top 3 climbing experience. Promote the very best. And so we want you to market these. The very best of what you have, you know. And you can't let politics kill the effort. Well, you promoted them and you didn't promote me, and I think I'm just as good. We already have set up criteria and everything. So maybe the best 3 trails, the best 3 hikes, the best 3 water-based activities. Always promote your anchor tenants. Wouldn't it be cool if you could come down the highway, once you see that sign that says Adventure Capital of Canada, you know what? There's quite a distance before they ever get to Squamish. By the time they get to Squamish, they've pretty much forgotten the sign. We thought, could we create a series of these and put them along the highway? Yeah, we know we have work to do to be able to do this. But wouldn't it be cool if these, and by the way, these are pretty big. These things here are like 1 meter wide and 2 or 3 meters, 2.5 meters tall. Wouldn't it be cool if you came down the highway and you saw these all that way coming into Squamish? It creates a sense of anticipation. It makes a powerful statement. And then you'll put these. Notice in scale, here's one down here. Notice compared to the car. I mean, these are big. They really are powerful and make a statement. Because there's one word we want Squamish to own, and that word is epic. And we think you already own it. You just haven't done it. And so, Mountain Bike Magazine, key marketing message, rates Squamish as one of the top 25 wildest and most exotic places to ride in the world. These are third-party endorsements, or home to 8 provincial parks. Is there any place in Canada that has 8 provincial parks in one district? I don't know. We couldn't find any. And one of the youngest and fastest growing communities in Western Canada. Some of the best eagle viewing in North America. I mean, Squamish, and the Chief in particular, is rated one of the best rock climbing destinations in the world. They're epic. And you need to own that. You know, and then finally, the best multi-sport destination in North America. Bar none. You already own it. You just need to claim it. You know, watch this. And I'm not going to play the whole thing. This is a 10-year-old kid. You seen this? I'm just going to show a few minutes of it. And it was filmed locally. Kevin and his crew did this. And I won't play the whole thing, but it's pretty amazing. And by the way, it's epic. There you go. It's epic. I mean, it's amazing. And that's nothing. If you ever go into the Adventure Center and watch the 7.5-minute video, before we even came to Squamish, Jordan in our office pulled that video up, 7.5 minutes. You know what he did? Right then and there he said, I and Ashley, his wife, we're going up to Squamish on his own time, his own dime from that 7.5-minute video. You know what? You're already marketing this stuff. You don't have to change your marketing. You just have to claim the word and put an exclamation point on it. Because what you have here is truly cool. And it is really great. I mean, even doing stuff like that, all it takes is one word. And you could do this with eagle watching. You could do this with so many different things here. I mean, it just doesn't matter. Just that one word. We want you to own it. That elevates you above everyone else. And then finally, number 13, you revisit this plan every couple of months. This plan is only going to be like 30 to 50 pages. This is not a plan you go put on a shelf and it gathers dust. It is a working document. The chamber will have their list. Downtown will have their list. Tourism will have their list. The district will have its list. MOT will have its list. Everybody's going to have a list. And it's going to create peer pressure. How are you doing on your list? How are you doing on your list? But you know what? We're all going to be working on the same list. And that's how cool this could be. When it comes to logos, we wanted to really play up the First Nations influence that you feel here. You know, and we wanted bold colors and things like that. And we didn't want it to be too polished. We even tested this with our team. And by the way, team, yesterday we sent out, some people said, I don't know if the logo, but even when it's small, you need to still be able to read it. Because normally you would, and by the way, you would never see a logo all by itself. And by the way, for our team, we tested out different font styles and everything. This one still came out the winner, just so you know. But this is to the very bright future, the absolutely incredible Squamish. Okay, epic. And that is all I have for you this morning. You okay with it? Yeah? Does anybody have any questions for just a couple of minutes? No questions? So our team, I want our team to stand up. Jeff, Vanessa, we got everybody, Deanna, everybody. This is our team. Look around here. This is our team. Give them a big hand. They have really worked hard on this. They're going to hang around. We're going to hang around, and you could go up to any one of them. And what you have to remember, we just facilitated this process. Brands have to come from within, and it did. This is from your input and their work on this process. All we did is design the look and the feel of it. So I just want you to let you know that. So thank you so much for coming out this morning, and here's to the future of Epic Squamish. Thank you very, very much. Thank you.